Subtest changes. They change the verbal subtests. The information subtest is now optional. It's a supplemental test. And word reasoning subtest developed as higher order verbal reasoning. Let's play a guessing game. Tell me what I'm thinking of. This is an animal that goes woof. What is it? That's right. A dog is an animal that goes woof. Let's try another one. This has a long handle. What is it?
A broom.
Yeah. If they get it wrong on the first one, you give them the second clue. If they get it right, then you're just like, that's right. This has a long handle, and it's used with water to mop the floor. What is it?
Clean the floor. Mop.
To clean the floor. That's right. Let's try another one. Yes, to clean the floor. And they're all like that. So some of them have 2 or 3 clues, and you would just go through them until they have missed 5 consecutive in a row. This one also suggests that if you have someone who has limited capacity or a possible intellectual deficiency, then just start with number 1. Word reasoning, by the way, measures verbal comprehension, analytical and general reasoning ability, verbal abstraction, domain knowledge, and the ability to integrate and synthesize different types of information, and ability to generate alternative concepts. The test requires a child to identify common concepts being described in a series of clues. Other subtest changes to the performance subtests include perceptual organization index became perceptual reasoning index, as we just said. Matrix reasoning was added, picture concepts was added, and then those others were removed. And the matrix reasoning subtest, this is also something found in the WISC-IV. It's a new subtest to the perceptual reasoning index. It's culture fair and language free. Which makes it a really, really good hold test. All right, so there are 2 types of hold tests. The one for verbal comprehension is vocabulary. When I talk about hold tests, what I'm talking about is a test that really looks at premorbid functioning. So if someone has, say, a head injury, they're going to lose the last thing that they remembered, or the last thing that they learned. The first things that we learn in life are usually language and vocabulary. So they're not going to lose old school language. So a hold test, unless of course that part of their brain is damaged, but in general, hold test is vocabulary for the verbal and matrix reasoning for the performance. And that's what makes it a really good test. Also, it doesn't require any hand manipulation or motor skills. And it relies on, it's a reliable general intellectual ability estimate. So this is an example of the matrix reasoning. The child is presented with partially filled grid and asked to select an item that properly completes it, like this. You start at different items for different age ranges, and again, if the child is suspected to have intellectual deficiency, you should start at the lower item number. You do have a reversal rule, and you do discontinue after 4 consecutive scores of 0 or 4 scores of 0 in 5 consecutive scores. So this is one that hasn't changed yet, though with the new incarnation I'm sure it will. And this one is the one that doesn't have a time limit. So with this one, you have a stimulus book. So look at these pictures. Which one here goes here? And then you just start with the correct one depending on the protocol. Now, if they get it wrong, you would say something like, let's look again and explain standardized why. All right, so new to the perceptual reasoning index. That's why I have these guys. Picture concepts. It measures fluid reasoning and abstract categorical reasoning ability. Also requires no motor skills. Child is presented with 2 or more rows of pictures and chooses one picture from each row to form the group with the common characteristic. It is now a core test in the PRI and measures fluid reasoning and abstract categorical reasoning ability. Solutions to easier items are generally attained by reasoning ability on concrete representation, whereas more difficult ones look at abstract reasoning. So for instance, from each of the 2 rows of objects, the child selects the objects that go together. So those are the new subtests. Working memory subtest is now freedom from distractibility, letter number sequencing that was adapted from the WISC-III, or the WISC-III adapted the letter number sequencing for WISC-IV, and now arithmetic is optional. It's a supplementary test. Letter number sequencing is now part of the working memory index. It relies on sequencing, mental manipulation, attention, short-term auditory memory, and processing speed. And this is what it looks like. The child is read a sequence of numbers and letters and asked to recall the numbers in ascending order and then the letters in alphabetical order. And we start with some more simple ones. Discontinue, they have 2 trials of each. If they get both trials, you can discontinue it. And now I'm going to ask you to say a group of numbers and letters. Say them after me. I want you to tell me the numbers first in order, starting with the lowest, then tell me the letters in alphabetical order. For example, if I said A1, you should say 1A. The numbers first and then the letter. Let's practice. A2. All right, so subtest changes. We already talked about some of that. Cancellation subtest looks like this, and the child is scanning the unstructured and structured arrangements of the pictures and marks the target pictures. So in this case, you can see they marked through all of the animals. Other changes to the WISC: improvements in vocabulary, block design, arithmetics, improved materials. The stimulus book is a little bit bigger, and then they have timed and untimed norms for block design, and the interpretation for general abilities index is available, and the CPI. So this is what the breakdown of that looks like.